reptiles.
What has 2 eyes, scaly skin, and a weird tongue?
My Uncle Ernie?
No! Reptiles!
Well, like I said,
Reptiles come in all shapes and sizes, like snakes, turtles, and lizards. Reptiles are able to live all over the world, in all different environments. See, they're animals, just like you and me. They're not just like you and me. Reptiles don't keep the same body temperature during the day. See, they're cold-blooded, although she feels kind of warm. See, if it's hot out, you and I sweat to cool off. Reptiles don't do that. If it's cold out, you and I put on coats, sweaters, and blankets. Or if we're dogs and cats, we grow a lot of fur so that we don't get cold. Now, reptiles are able to live all over the world, in all different environments. Swamps, forests, rivers, and deserts. And since they don't try to keep warm, reptiles don't use as much energy as animals like you and me. They conserve their energy. They only use it when they need it. Yeah. You needed a balloon. These alligators are conserving their energy. This is something that reptiles do.
Reptiles are cold-blooded. That means their body temperature changes with the weather. You and I, though, we're warm-blooded. That means that our temperature stays the same, no matter what's going on outside. Temperature stays the same. Hers doesn't. She's a cold-blooded reptile. Cool. I mean, warm.
You hungry? I think these guys are.
Careful. Watch that.
Reptiles have scaly skin, sort of like our toenails. And reptiles don't have any hair. But they do have scales that help them keep water inside. And these scales help them make a quick and easy getaway.
Reptiles have scales.
That looks kind of dangerous.
Very nice, but it's not that type of scale.
Bill?
Reptiles have scales, and so do fish. But fish scales are different. They're plates that are attached to the fish's skin, whereas reptile scales are actually part of the skin. Hard, shiny plates of protein, kind of like nails. Not that kind of nail. Nails. These nails. Toes nails. I mean those nails. I mean toenails. I mean scales. No, scales. So what do we got exactly here? Okay, this is an American alligator. If you want to take a look close up, I can show you a few of the characteristics of an alligator. Got about 80 teeth. They're pretty sharp. And the funny thing about alligators, well, it's not the funny thing, it's a great thing, that their teeth, if they get dull or crack, which happens in use, they'll fall out and the new one comes right in to replace it. I'll tell you what, all of their muscles are for crushing. That's right, you can hold their jaw closed with your just with one hand. Touch them on the top of the eye, it's okay. It's a nictitating membrane, it's an extra eyelid, it allows them to see underwater. And right behind the eye is the ear. See the slit? Right there. Mm-hmm. And this tail. This powerful swimming device. Actually, a big alligator can break a man's leg with a tail. So what's that hissing sound? Oh, he's not too thrilled with us right now. He's a very unhappy alligator at this point. I just seen you hang on and I'll stand over here, because I guess they go this way, right? They can't see directly in front of them, and they always bite to the side. So if you're ever chased by an alligator, just keep going.
Unlike humans, a reptile's body temperature isn't constant. A human's body temperature is constant at 37 degrees Celsius and less per second. A reptile's body temperature can vary from 30 degrees colder to 10 degrees warmer than our body temperature. Reptiles chill out in the sun to raise their body temperature.
This is a crocodile, a small one. Hey, Joe, how old is she? This guy was born, 4 days ago. 4 days. 4 days ago. 50 grams, 48 grams, that's tiny. It's nothing. They grow to be a ton. 4.2. 4.2 centimeters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll know because we're going to take it out. In he goes. Yeah. Going croc hunting with one of these. Wave to the camera, Joe. Hi. Hi, Mom. That's Joe. He's the biologist. I got the light. And we're going to release those two crocodiles. We just marked so that we can keep an eye on them over the next, century. Okay, here you go. Right in the water, huh, Joe? Yeah, all right, there you go. Here's the said, look how well they swim. Very few survive. And out of these babies, less than 10% will make it in the first year. Less than 10%. Yeah. She's up and running.
In America, there are 4 kinds of poisonous snakes. We have a small viper called a copperhead. Their head is the color of a penny, and from Texas to the East Coast, these little animals bite more people than any other poisonous snake in our country. And the reason is they're hard to see. They look just like dead leaves, and people don't look where they're stepping. They're poisonous, they won't kill you, but it hurts a lot. This is the second kind of poisonous snake, or venomous snake, in the United States. It's called a water moccasin. They live in swamps and water places down south, usually Texas to Florida. Water moccasins can be deadly, so you definitely don't want to mess with these guys.
This is a very well understood technique, time honored.
This is an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, deadliest snake in North America. The fangs are hollow, just like a shot needle, and they inject venom into your body through those needles. Coral snakes, the number 4 poisonous snake in America. They have red, black, and yellow rings, just like this. But obviously this is not a coral snake, it's just a milk snake. They look just like them, so to tell the difference, you need to remember a little poem. If red touches yellow, you're a dead fellow. If red touches black, you're okay, Jack. If you see one of these, don't pick it up unless you can remember the little poem.
And that red touches black, you're okay, Jack. What? My name is Bill Haas, and I'm director of the Serpentarium. We produce venom of all species of snakes, including lizards, for venom research. This is the venom of those eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. All right, this is the coral snake, who has neurotoxic venom, which affects the nervous system. And approximately 1 drop is lethal. And without antivenom, you don't survive. But this is the cobra that the snake charmer shoots, because he sits up on the defensive and makes a good show. He has the same type of venom as the coral snake, but much, much more. So they're very deadly. Approximately 20,000 people die a year in India alone from cobra bite. With proper treatment, using antivenom, there's no reason that it should be a fatal bite. Reptiles have been here a long, long time, long before man. And I have a feeling if we leave them alone, they'll exist longer than we do. So see the scales along the snake's belly? Those are the scutes. They only slide in one direction. So the snake uses them to claw. The snake uses the scutes to scoot. Reptiles don't really have skin. They have scales. They allow reptiles to move like the separate plates on a suit of armor. So reptile scales protect reptiles. They also help reptiles keep moisture inside their bodies because reptile scales are almost completely waterproof. Almost.
Lindsay Cornett with Reptiles tonight. I'm here with Tina Turtle. Tina, I understand your shell has protected you from a lot of the knocks and bumps of your career. Care to comment? I see you're feeling a little withdrawn today.
It's an alligator snapping turtle.
He's got a big snapping mouth, doesn't he?
That little pink worm in his mouth is his tongue, and he wiggles it in the river, and the fish, they find it irresistible, and they swim inside. They swim inside. He snaps them up for dinner.
Reptiles lay eggs. That may not sound like such a big deal, but it is. See, a hard-shelled egg protects the baby inside, If he was out in the desert, it keeps the baby from drying out. Or it might keep the baby from getting smushed by mom and dad in the middle of some sort of wild reptile party. A hard-shelled egg protects the baby the same way a hard-shelled car protects you and me. Now, frogs lay eggs too, but frog eggs don't have hard shells. That's one of the big reasons that scientists don't think of frogs as reptiles. Right now, birds lay eggs, reptiles lay eggs, and so did dinosaurs. That's one of the big reasons that scientists think that birds, reptiles, and dinosaurs all got started at about the same time. So which came first? The reptile or the egg? The chicken or the dinosaur?
And now, reptile or not? A slimy, squirmy salamander. Reptile or not? A jumping bullfrog. Reptile or not? An orange, swamp-dwelling newt. Reptile or not?
The animals that you have just seen are not reptiles. They're amphibians. They lay their eggs in water, and they do not have scaly skin. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cody Barr at University of Miami, and I study these scaly guys right here. Now, we know alligators are important, but scientists really aren't even sure what the alligators eat. They're not even sure what is important in the diet. So what I study is what the alligator is eating. So tonight we're going to catch a few of these things and pump their stomachs and see what they've been eating out here. Alligators have great smell, they got great eyesight, and they got great hearing. So we have to catch these things after dark. We'll blind them with a spotlight, and then they can't see us coming up on them. That's why we have to catch them at night.
Got it. Good one.
Had a little life to him there. I think I've caught him before. He remembers that. Now, after we capture this alligator, we can go through the stomach contents and decide what he's been eating tonight. This individual is probably a fish eater, but there may be individual tastes. Maybe this alligator likes fish better than snails or sea birds or turtles. Your smaller invertebrates, such as insects, crustaceans, even snails, seem to be an important prey item for the alligator. Now, after we pump the alligator's stomach, it causes the alligator no harm whatsoever. And then we release these things right where we captured them, and they're no worse for wear. Can you imagine getting paid for this? A sunset like this? Good friends? Catching alligators? I got the best job in the world.
Now this is a lizard. It's a chameleon from Africa. This guy. You see him? He's camouflaged. Now a species like this changes color, mostly from dark green to light green, by sensing how much heat his surroundings are giving off and how much light or heat is hitting him. So see, they're adapted for living exactly where they live in Africa. So see, he's got scaly skin, and he's cold-blooded, but he's not really cold. Just means he doesn't keep the same body temperature all day. So what they do is orient themselves to the light to keep warm or cool off. See how she likes to grab stuff? Yeah. Her hands are split up like that. She's got 5 fingers just like you and me, but they're hooked together. That's what allows her to grab onto things so easily. See how she can grab stuff? She's perfectly adapted for living where she lives, high in the trees. They've been doing it for 200 million years. They ought to be good at it. See his eyes? They can look in 2 different directions at once. And his brain can see 2 different images at the same time. They have better eyesight than we do. And if they need to know how far away something is, they turn both their eyes toward it, just the way you and I do. And that way, they can aim at it, maybe to eat it.
It's pretty cool that the turtles are older than the dinosaurs. They're still living now, but they're endangered, become extinct, and we're trying to save them. The mother turtle lays her eggs in the nest and covers them up, and then they hatch about a month or 2 later. We're waiting for the sea turtles to make their way out of the nest to the ocean. We have to protect sea turtles because people hunted them, and then there's animals that like to eat them.
big alligators came from a little egg like this. Now, while I was swimming, I think I'll move on. So what makes this tortoise so unusual?
Tortoises in general, they live longer than any other animal on Earth, up to 200 years old.
So how old is this one?
He's about 20 years old. You can tell by counting the rings on his scales. Each scale has about 20 rings, just like a tree cut in half.
So is the top part of the shell and the bottom part of the shell all one piece?
Well, it's grown together on the sides, but they're actually two separate bones. This top part is called a carapace, just a big hard bone covered with scales. And this bone underneath, a turtle's ribs have actually grown together into one bone, and the backbone is stuck to the ribs.
And what about the bottom? Yeah,
the bottom is protected by this big plate, this breastplate here. It's called a plastron. It fits right on the bottom like that. And that's a turtle shell.
Turtles are reptiles. This turtle has no trouble regulating its body temperature. It just lives in fresh water all day in the Everglades. Whatever the water temperature is, that's the temperature the turtle is. You and I can't do that. Turtles are reptiles. Big, scary. Look how easily that turtle swims. That's because reptiles have been on the Earth for hundreds of millions of years. Big, scary.
Let's see if we can make Lumpy go to sleep. 1, 2, 3. Lumpy's out cold. Wake up, Lumpy. He's back. There you go.
These animals have lived on the Earth for 200 million years. They're perfectly adapted for eating. For eating. For eating. For eating. Woo! Nothing like a mealworm. Tongue is 2.5 times as long as he is. They know what they're doing.
You know, you're a great crowd. I love the reptile room. I'm just happy I'm not a fly. You cold-blooded, slimy, scaly reptiles.
Well, I hold the eggs. Bob wrestles the alligator.
Okay.
Oh.